Hi there. So here's a walkthrough of the student problem from CS Awesome, in which we're going to build a student class and then test it from a separate main class. So here's what I'm aiming for here: class student with 4 instance variables, 3 constructors, and a print method, and we'll use a class main to test them. Here's the source for the problem. So right now, all I have is here's my student class. I've got public class student. I've got my open curly brace, my closed curly brace, and I open that up. I've got some comments that's just sort of mapping out what I'm going to do, and it looks like there's a framework for one method already in here, a print method to presumably print information about the student. So let's start off, since we have our framework in place here, let's just start off by adding our constructors. We need to come up with 4 constructors for this student. They're not given, so you can come up with whatever you like for your constructors. I'm going to go for a few like this: string name as a constructor. Let's do int age. Let's do string pronoun and boolean enrolled, whether the student's enrolled or not here. And just all I'm doing at the top of my class here is declaring these instance variables. We're not going to set any values to them right away. So next up is to write constructors for these. Now, here we're getting into multiple constructors. You're probably familiar already with this idea of the default constructor, no parameter constructor. We go something like this: public class name, open close parenthesis, curly brace, and we write our code right in there. The code for a default constructor basically should just be assigning default values to all of the instance variables. By the way, I made another mistake here. Look at this. Nobody called me out on this yet. Well, there's nobody watching this yet, so of course nobody called me out. I forgot to put private on these private instance variables. We don't want these being changed from outside the class. So my bad. You should be in the habit of always making your instance variables private. So my mistake. So here we go. In the student class, here's where we assign default values. No parameters in this constructor, so no information was given. If somebody creates a new student object with no information given, what do we want the default values to be? Well, name, let's say unknown. Hopefully nobody actually has the name unknown. Int age. If we don't get an age, we got to come up with a default age. Int get defaulted to 0. Do we want an age of 0? Maybe. Let's go with 0. Pronoun. What's our default pronoun if none is provided? We could go with, let's just go with none. None provided. And enrolled. Well, the default, the built-in default is false. I'll just also write, no. We want our, well, yeah, no, students should be false if we don't know anything about them yet. So they're not enrolled yet. Okay, there's one constructor. I could actually call this class and run it now and create a student. So I couldn't do much with the student because I don't have a print method. I can't access these variables. So in my other class, I wouldn't be able to do much with it. But let's just make sure we have running code. So over here, you can see I have a student.java class and I have a main.java class. So this code I've been writing is in the student.java. I'm going to go back over to main.java now, where I can create a student object. So comment here says construct 3 student objects using 3 different constructors, and then we'll call their print methods. So let's do, first we'll do student, let's just call this student A, the variable is A, new student, and we're calling the default constructor. I could run my code now, everything should work, it does, and nothing happens. because all I've done is create a student. I haven't done anything with it. So let's head back to our Java class, our student class here. And by the way, you want to work in student.java, not student.class. The .class files are the compiled ones. We can't edit those. You do the you edit the .java files. All right. So in order to test this student that the instance variables are working correctly, let's code the print method first, and then we'll go back up and do the other constructors. So our print method, we get to kind of make this up, what we want the printing to look like. Print line, can't type line. Boy, I really can't type line. And then we'll put things inside here like, let's do this, name plus name. And just going to copy paste this a few times. And then we can do age, pronoun, and enrolled. Maybe I want to call it pronouns. All right. And then I'm going to add some extra spaces here so it prints nicely. So they're all lined up. Let's go with pronouns. Pronoun sounds a little awkward. Okay. And then now I can run this and test my that default student I made. Oh, nothing happened. Well, because I never called the print method. So let's go back here to main.java. Here we go. We created the student, and now we can call a.print to run the print method of this object that I created. Now we should see some information over here, some more useful stuff. Yes, there we go. Name, unknown. Age, unknown. Pronouns, unknown. What? It shouldn't say unknown all over the place. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? Oh yeah, look, when I copy pasted, I just left name there as the variable in all of these. So age, pronouns, enrolled. Let's try this again. Yes, okay, name unknown, age 0, pronouns none, enrolled, false. All right, so that's if nobody provides information. Now we'll write a couple more constructors. First constructor will have one parameter with the rest as default values. So that constructor header will look pretty similar as to the last one, except if there's a parameter, that's got to go inside the parentheses. So apparently we get to make up what the parameter is on this one. Let's say the name is provided. Well, can't do that. I've got to put a data type here, string name. And now I'm going to take all these. So we're going to, if we don't know the age, pronouns, and enrolled, we'll just keep those as their default values. But now name will get whatever name is provided. Now, look at this. This is a little bit weird. Name gets name. It's not going to work very well. Let's run it just to see what happens. Oh, right, I never called this constructor. Okay. Nope, main.java. So let's create student B, get new student. And on this one, we're going to provide a name. Let's go with Samantha as the name. Now we'll go back to our student. Well, I didn't have to go back to run this. Oh, I never called the print. If we were in the classroom, hopefully people will be stopping me and shouting and stuff like that. So we'll print the two students now, and look at that. Instead of printing Samantha, it printed null. That's not cool. That's because back here, my parameter was called name, but my private instance variable is also called name. So when I want to assign the parameter to the private instance variable, I get with sort of awkwardly phrased statement, and name gets name. So there's two ways to solve this. Number one is just change the parameter to something else like nm. Not very readable from a code, perspective, but that will work, right? Now this disambiguates that line of code. Maybe better would be like the name, right? And then that way you can, somebody else reading the code kind of gets what's going on here. So let's just test this to make sure it works. Run, zoom that out, and good. Now we see Samantha was picked up as the name there. So that's one way to solve it. But let's say you're just really stuck on calling this parameter name, and you want your private instance variable to remain name. All right, there's this handy keyword called this dot name. So if I put this dot in front of it, it's referring to the private instance variable here. So basically it's like the name of this object will get name being the parameter here. So this is the other way to solve it. I'm going to zoom this out so we can see trust but verify. Right, there we go. It hung on to the name Samantha. Okay, so we know that I'm going to leave it at this dot name. That's just my preference, but you know, either way of solving it works well. Okay, so next one we're going to do a 4-parameter constructor. That means we are going to provide all 4 of the instance variables up here. And so this is going to be a long header line. Let's do string.name, string name, int age, string pronouns, and Boolean enrolled. And then, so that gave me sort of a line wrap here, right? So I'm going to shrink that back down. And now, in here, we don't want to be providing these instance variables anymore. The default values, we want to provide them the values that were provided, give them the values that were provided. So I'm going to put a bunch of this dots in front of my instance variables, and then these will just get the parameter values. Okay, so this will allow somebody to create a new student back over in that main class and provide all 4 pieces of information. So no defaults are being given here. By the way, I'm gonna make more things here. So I think I want to just add something to my system.out.println line so that they don't get all jumbled together. Let's do this. Okay. So instead of name, you can click this auto format button, which sometimes, not now apparently, will take care of these indents for you. First one's just going to be a blank line to give us a little space, and then let's do this. Let's go student info, and then this one, let's go with just a bunch of dashes. Okay, so that just helps us sort of, as we're printing multiple students, differentiate between them. Let's run our code, make sure we're good. I probably made too many changes there between running it. Good. Defaults, and then we see, oh, I'm kind of losing some space here. Gotta move myself out of the way. Bye, Smith. I can park over here, how about? Okay, so student info and then student info. Great. Last thing we want to do to make sure we have good running code is test our 3rd constructor now, the one that has all of the information provided. So let's go student C equals new student, and I'm going to call this one Trevor, and pronouns they, age, how old's Trevor? 20, and enrolled true. We'll have Trevor be enrolled. Catch the error that I made? I've made an error, by the way, so far. So let's see if you've noticed it. I'm going to run the code now, and the code Java will tell me that I have an error. If you haven't seen the error, you might want to pause just to see if you can figure it out before I run it here. So, Okay, spoiler alert, I'm gonna run it and we'll see what the error is. There we go. Error main.java line 7. Okay, so that's here with Trevor. And error incompatible types. String cannot be converted to int. And it's pointing at, sort of pointing at the they here in the constructor. So how did I cause that error? Like the string looks to be constructed fine. It's not an int, it's definitely a string. And if we let's come over here and see what the constructor was expecting. So the constructor was expecting these parameters in order. So it was expecting first the name, then the age, then the pronouns. So I'm going to have to come back here and switch these up because I put them in the wrong order. And now this should be good. Let's see what we get. First student, bam, no errors by the way. All defaults. Second student, name provided, rest are defaults. Third student, all info provided, no defaults. We have successfully coded the student class. Now, good luck coding this on your own, and drop a line if there's any way I can give a hand. Bye.